Oh yeah, baby, here we are, ready to rock and roll and transform this average looking Mercedes-Benz into something like that. Woohoo! And we're going to take a few minutes to do that, and we're going to go step by step, every step of the way, and you can take notes, do whatever you like. Grab yourself a nice cup of hot chocolate or whatever your favourite beverage is, and sit back, relax, put your feet up. Maybe grab a notepad as well. Take any notes that you like as you're going. Feel free to watch the video as many times as you like. I just want to help you get better at Photoshop fast. Alright, so that's our before shot and that's our after. I've got the original image here. Now, first thing I'm going to do is duplicate the background layer. So I'm going to press Command J or Control J if you're on a PC, unfortunately. Then we're going to click rename our layer there and call it Edits, and we're going to do that so that we know what it is. And it's a good idea to get in the practice of naming your layers. Now this layer here we're going to use to fix any blemishes or anything that's kind of any blotches or marks on the image. So I'm just going to grab my zoom tool and zoom up here, because I know down here you can see the car. Hopefully you can see it on the video. There's a few little marks here where the car is got, it's just basically little bits of dirt. Nothing major, but just little things that would be better if they were tidied up. Now there's lots of different methods for removing dust and scratches and speckles and all that kind of stuff. You can use the clone stamp tool, the healing brush tool, the patch tool. You can use dust and scratches. You can do Gaussian blurs and fade things back in, all that kind of stuff. Now all that doesn't really matter. It's all dependent on the image and what you finally want to use the image for. So if this image was going to be used for print and high quality print, then I would use the most sophisticated method to remove them. If it's just going to be used on the web, then I would not be as fussy, because 72 DPI on the screen, like, who cares? If it looks really good, then great, and people won't be able to see the sort of finer detail as to whether if there's a slight bit of texture is not there, that kind of thing. So anyway, I'm going to come up to the healing brush tool. Why the healing brush tool? Well, the healing brush tool is good because you can sample the area that you're going to use. So you see I've got my mouse here. Normally, or my brush, normally what I'd want to do as well is have my my brush slightly bigger than the area that's going to be fixed. So you can see I've got these two little dots here I'm just going to get rid of. And I've got my brush slightly bigger. Now, I wouldn't have a brush like this, whoa, and I wouldn't have a tiny one like that that's so small that it doesn't cover the area. So just slightly bigger than the actual area. Then I press the Alt or the Option key down, click once, and then over the top, boom, there we go, and it's done. And this is a pretty good, this is a pretty good way, and it keeps the texture, and you can sample as you're going as well. So it's not a bad method for doing these kind of touch-ups. Okay, and we've got our options up here. If we want to have it aligned so our sample area always moves with us, unless we're going to resample as we go, which a lot of people do, and which I like to do as well, because it gives me more accurate options here when I'm resampling. Okay, and now where do we stop, right? Where do we stop? How pedantic do we be with this stuff? Well, at the end of the day, it really depends, Do you want a really good job, or do you want an okay job? Do you want a really good result or an okay result? And that is completely up to you. No one can really decide that except for yourself. So, I'd like to show you how to get good results, so that you can produce great work, and that people, when they see your stuff, they go, whoa, holy moly, how did you do that? That's incredible. And when you're getting those kind of results, it's great, feels good, and you're happy, and they're admiring you and hopefully paying you money to do work for them, or whatever it is that you want to do with your Photoshop work. Okay. I've just heard my daughter get home, so if you get a knock on the door, you'll know what's happening. All right, so I'm just sort of working my way around the image here, mainly around the guard here where I know this dirt splatters are. And I'm being fairly fussy. And at the end, to be honest, at the end of the day, you wouldn't know if I I could use a clone stamp tool. I could do the real rush job, which maybe you're hoping right now that I was doing so that you can get through it quicker. But, really good high-end retouching isn't done in 5 minutes. That's the reality of it. If you want to be a high-end retoucher and do really quality work, sometimes people can take tens of hours to retouch an image. It could be 40 hours on one image. It could be, it really depends. If you're doing compositions as well, that's, they take a lot of time. That could be 40 to 100 hours per image. If you're doing just retouching, it could be anywhere from half an hour up to, say, 5 or 6 hours. So, it really, and you get faster and faster as you go as well. So, and today I'm going to be using a combination of my mouse and my Wacom tablet. So I like to use both of them. I've used a mouse for many, many years, and I've used a Wacom tablet now for quite a few years, and I like them both. They both have their purposes for brushing and masking and stuff like that. I really like using my Wacom tablet. It's just great. You get really good results with them, and just very good. All right, let's zoom out now and just see how we're going here. You can see we're slowly making our way through the image. Okay, and like I said, I might just get rid of the main ones at this stage, and just so you know as well that if this was going to be an image that I was going to put my life on the line for, I would make sure that it was pixel perfect and that it turned out to be fantastic, which is what we want. And especially if you're doing work for big clients, like corporate clients, you don't want your image to go to print and then find out that you've left some silly blotch or something on the image. So you want to go over the image, do it multiple times and be fussy. It's okay. It's okay to be fussy, and you should be fussy when it's your work and your name is going to be attached to it. So, all right. Now, the next thing we're going to do after we've sort of touched up and we've gone over and we're happy with the image, we're then going to extract the car from the background. Okay, and that's an important part of the process here, so that we can put it on a white background and give it that sort of it's got a bit of a mark on the rim here. Okay, just clean that up. Beautiful. All right. Yeah, we go around the car, extract it, get rid of this background, and then we'll start making some tweaks to the actual car. All right, so that's our first part. That's our edits, before and after, and you probably can't even tell because it's on the web and it's, you're looking at the screen. All right, so next part we need to do is grab our pen tool, the magic pen tool. A lot of people are scared by the pen tool, but please don't. It's a fantastic tool, really great for, working and making masks or selections around straight-edged or hard-edged objects like this, like a car. So I'm just going to click here once to start my path off, and then clicking on my next point. Now, one thing I often do, this is the way I use paths a lot, is I'll hold the Option key down or the Alt key on the PC and click on my anchor point after I've done it, so that I've got a fresh start again. If I'm not doing lots of curves in a row, then I'll do that. If I want to do multiple curves, then I'll leave it as it is. So this one here, I'll just click here, just do a slight curve there, and then a nice straight edge down here. Now, don't be too too worried here if you mess something up, because the great thing about paths are you can go back and fix them up. All right, so just coming around here. And I hope you're having a fantastic day today. You know, it's really awesome to be able to do stuff like this, and I hope that you're really happy with the skill level that you're getting from being able to watch the video training and become just better and better. Yes, grasshopper. You must learn, become better. Okay, just gonna keep going around the points here. Alright. And what we'll do, I mean, there's different ways that we can refine our path after. I'll just try and quickly sort of whiz around here now. So I'm clicking and dragging, and that gives me those sort of handles and anchor points. And all I would say, really, with making paths is practice, practice, practice. The more you practice, the better you'll get, the faster you'll get. And it doesn't take long. Like, just start on any image that you can get your hands on and just start playing with it. You got nothing to lose. You're not gonna hurt the image by doing a path on it. Alright, so here we're just going to start going around the tyre. Now, it's not as critical, this part here, because I'm going to make it all black anyway, this bottom part here with the shadow. So I'm not as worried, you know. I'll do my path here, but it's I think I'll probably mask this whole section out. Just going to zoom out now. Oopsie daisy, come on. Okay, so I'm just going to click there, and then back to home. And you can see, just zooming up on the pen tool there, you can see on the very bottom right hand corner it's got a little circle, and that means as I get back to my starting point, it's now going to close my path. Now, in my paths palette here, you can see it's got work path. I'm going to double click on that and just name it car, just to kind of save my path. You know, I'm going to click on my marching ants icon here to make an active selection of my path. Now come back to the layers palette here, and if I hold down the Alt key or the Option key, I can create my active selection, create a mask of it. Sorry, I'm getting my tongue tied. I'm trying to think of doing two things at once, and you know me, typical male, can only focus on one thing at a time. Okay, I'm just going to deactivate or unhide. I'm going to hide my background layer as well, so it's not visible. And what we'll do now is, with this layer selected, I'm going to hold the Command key down, click on the Add a New Layer icon, and I'm going to change this to white background. Okay, and with my white as my background color over here in my color palette, I'm going to press the Command key and then hit delete. All right, and now I've got a white background. So very cool. We're getting there now. We've got our car tweaked. Like I said, I could have gone over my path to make it absolutely perfect. I'm happy with it the way it is. Plus, this video is going to go on forever otherwise. But it's a decent selection, and I can always tweak my mask as well in the mask menu here. You know, I can like feather it if I want to make it. You can see how that. Let's just zoom up so you can actually see what's going on. You can see here if I increase the feather on my mask, it feathers it like so. I don't, you know, I might maybe 1 pixel, something like that. And we can look at refining the edge here as well. There's all different things that you can do. You can, you know, add contrast to the edge. You can shift the edge. So if you want to, you know, pull it in slightly, your mask. Let's put it on white. Okay. So we can shift our edge. You can see it's just making it slightly bigger or smaller. Decontaminate colors. We can do that as well. So decontaminate on the edge, you know, which is not a bad idea. But that's just some real basics with the mask side of things, and not really what this video is meant to be all about. And you can see that creates a new layer there with the new mask, the updated mask. So I'm just going to delete my previous one. All right, so we'll just call that mask. Oh, actually, yeah, it is. edits. That's our edits layer. So we'll just keep it at that, which is great. So just come down here, all looking good. Now, next thing I want to do is create the shadow under the car here. So with this layer selected, once again, hold the Command key down, click on that, create a new layer, and that adds a new layer below the current selected layer. So in the past, if you click on the new layer icon, it just adds one above it, and that's not what we want. So that's just a little shortcut for you. Now what we're going to do is create our shadow. Now, actually, to be honest, let's tweak this mask a little bit first. Get my brush tool, and now I'm going to jump over, grab my Wacom pen. I'm going to increase my brush size here, and I've got white selected, so I'm just going to brush in here like so. Okay, I could even use a bigger brush. I see I've got my opacity set to 100% just to get that going, and I can start bringing that over here like so. All right, perfect. That's what I want at that stage. Now I'm just going to add a shadow under here. Now there's different ways I can do that. I worked with a okay, hang on. Before I get with the work with this story, you can totally see I'm a bloke. Hey, can only do one thing at a time. Shadow under car. Okay. Back to the story. I worked with a guy probably, could have been, I don't know, 10 to 15 years ago. And this guy, he was a graphic designer, a really good designer. And we used to do a lot of Photoshop stuff together as well, where we were working in this printing company. And he was really good with brushing. And what he showed me a few different techniques. And basically one of the things that he really emphasized was just using a really low opacity when you're creating shadows and stuff like that. So, and just building up, so layering it up. So if I wanted to, like so, I could, I start with my basic shape like so, and then, just start coloring it in, and then just sort of building it up as we go here, building it up around the critical areas, right? So this is the I suppose the artistic way of doing it, if you'd like to say that. And it's completely up to you. You don't have to do it that way. Another way you can do it, right, is you can use a lasso tool and come down here and like so, right, and that might suit more the average person. Feather, we got a nice feather on it there of 36%. We can bump that feather right up so it's nice and soft. And then you could even grab the gradient tool there with black as our foreground color, and we could, drag it out like so. Right, just kind of fill in a few bits here. All right, then we can get rid of our selection there. So there you go. There's a pretty nice looking shadow that fits with the image. We could tweak it, of course, by selecting our brush tool and then touching up any bits that needed to be touched up. But I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks pretty darn good at this stage. So what are the things we've done at this point? We have cropped our car. We've extracted the car from the background, put it on its own layer. We've also created this shadow under the car. So now we can get into the actual sort of color correction and tweaking the contrast of the image and making it look a bit punchy. Like in this example here, you can see it just looks hot. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is create a new hue and saturation adjustment layer. I'm just going to change the blending mode there to soft light, and that will just sort of punch out the contrast of the image a bit there as well. Now, another important thing that we're going to do shortly is some dodging and burning as well. So we'll take care of that soon as well. I'm going to also add a curves adjustment layer. Okay, and this is where we can really sort of start tweaking our image here and adding those punchy colors. Okay, so all right, so let's have a look here. There's our before and after, and let's have a look in comparison to our original image there. Let's just zoom up a little. Okay, so you can see there. In the other one that we did, you can see here I didn't make the light as bright, and it's really just personal preference as to what you want to do. All right, another thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to work on this wheel a bit. I'm going to duplicate this layer here, my edits layer, and I'm going to inverse it. Okay, like so, and then I'm going to change the blending mode to overlay, and you can just see what that's done now to the wheel. Don't worry about the rest of the car. I mean, you might even like that look, but I don't. Just look at the wheel, and I did it because I wanna lighten up this rim as an overall, and I'm gonna now just select my mask here and just get rid of it because we had the previous mask. It duplicated the mask for the car as well. I don't need to worry about that. What I'm going to do though is just worry about this wheel. So I'm going to grab the old Wacom pen again and just going to zoom up here. Make sure I've got white as my foreground color, and you can see here I've got my opacity of 6%. Let's just pump that up to say 72%. That'll do. And now with a soft edge brush, okay, got my hardness right down. I'll make the brush slightly smaller. Okay, I'm just gonna draw from the center out of my image here. Okay, now don't worry if it's a little too sort of heavy-handed, because what we can do is always tone it back after. All right. Okay, we can even see our brakes here, which is awesome. All right. Actually, quite liking the look of it. Okay. All right. Looking good. Now, I'm not saying you have to copy everything I do as well. This is I'm just letting you know what I've done for it, and these are some of the techniques that I've used. Let's zoom out now and check out that. All right. So if we just click on, there's our before for the wheel, the after. And if we thought it was a bit strong, we'll just tone the opacity back a bit, right? So before, after. Cool. I do think my curves is probably slightly too strong there as well. I'm just going to pull that back a bit. And maybe I'll punch up that now. Yep, there we go. We'll leave that like so. Okay, so now that's looking pretty hot. Now you can see our image here is starting to look really good. Let's go back to our before image here. That's our before, and that's after so far. Now, actually, our shadow probably does need a little bit of work there. I think probably even a bit more of a blur, just to kind of soften her up a bit more on the edges there. There we go. Now we're talking. All right. Nice stuff. So, yeah, it's looking good. We got our before and after there. Next thing I'm going to do now, though, is add a new layer, and I'm going to press Command-Shift-N to do that. If you're on the PC, that's Control-Shift-N. And we're going to change our blending mode here to Overlay. And we're going to click on this little box here that says Fill with Overlay Neutral Color 50% Gray. And then I want you to type in here, Dodge and Burn. And it's important that you get in the habit of naming your layers as well. It just helps you be more organized, and you can really kind of, if you want to go back to your image later and do some edits on it, you want to have a break from it for some time and then go back to it. It's a great way to do that. If you've named your layers, you've got things in groups and organized properly, makes it a lot easier doing that. Okay, now, the purpose of our dodging and burning here is to add a bit more depth to it and to also emphasize the highlights and the shadow areas, the things that we want to be emphasized. Now, how does it work with our 50% gray layer set to overlay mode? This is a great non-destructive way of dodging and burning our image. Basically, we just select our brush tool from our brush palette and black and white as our foreground and background colors. So press D on the keyboard, that will reset your foreground and background colors to black and white. And X, we can switch them. So if we press the X key, it just switches the foreground and the background colors. So depending on what we're wanting to do. Now, the other thing to do is put your opacity down quite low. If I have my opacity set to 100%, let's just have a quick look here. A bit of a example. When I start, brushing away, you can see it's very harsh. And if we look at our layer there, you you can see that it's solid black, and yeah, it's burnt it all right. And we don't want to be so harsh. So come down in our opacity here, and we'll probably pull it down to about, 10% is probably fine. 9-10%. All right. So first of all, we can look at some of the shadows here, and if we want to darken any of them up, we can do that. And once again, just make sure you've got that real soft edge brush going. Okay. And our highlights too. So I'm just going to press X on my keyboard here and just paint a little bit here where the highlights are. Okay, and you can see on our thumbnail here how it's working out. Okay. Oops, just undo that. Okay, so I might add a bit more up here. Okay, I'm just going to zoom in. Okay, so I'm still on the highlights now. Just going to pull the brush size down a bit, and just going to go over these highlight areas here. Just to really emphasize them. Okay, and just work our brush size up a bit there as well. Okay, just going to pull that down there. All right, now I'm just going to go across the back of the boot there, up the window. Okay, and any kind of areas that have chrome on it and stuff like that, that's a great great spot to do a bit of dodging. Okay, just to kind of lighten them up a bit. Now, once again, if we're a bit heavy-handed with this and you decide, whoa, I've just gone a bit crazy with my dodging and burning, you can always lighten it up later. Now, you might have noticed as well, we've got this window here. We've got everything on a white background, and even in my original one here that I even posted on the forum, I didn't bother doing that, but I think there I've actually toned it back. So what we need to do, though, is get rid of that colour out of there. So we'll do that shortly as well. But I'll just do a bit of burning here, just across these shadow areas, just to kind of darken them up a bit. Okay. Okay. All right. Now on the wheels as well, which we've also done a bit of work on there already. On these kind of catchlight areas on the lighter side, just really adds that kind of wow to the image. And I hope you can see this kind of taking shape now as well. All right, looking good. And I'll just go over some of the shadows here. Okay, looking good, looking good. All right, I'm pretty happy with that at the moment. It's starting to look very good. So next thing I'm going to do now is actually we'll come back to our edits layer here, and I'm going to make a selection of the window there. Now I could do that probably a number of ways, but to be perfectly honest, the best way for this one, because it's a nice straight edge, would be using the pen tool. So I'm just going to click inside like so. Okay. And this is just going to help me make a nice selection very quickly. And okay, that wasn't perfect, that last part there. I'll just grab my points there and just tweak them a bit. All right, so now if we go into our path section here, we've got a new work path. I won't, actually, let's grab them both. Okay, so we've made our selection now. Now what we can do is actually create a new, there's a couple of ways. We could create probably a curves adjustment layer or a hue and saturation adjustment layer. I'm going to go for the hue and saturation adjustment layer option there, and I'm going to tone the saturation down, and I'm going to increase the lightness as well. Okay, not going to completely remove all the texture from it, but just we're going to kind of blow it out a bit there. Let's zoom out a bit, and you can see now it looks much more natural than having the blue. So that's before and that's after, so that looks a lot better now. All right, we're getting near the end now, the grand finale. I know you've been hanging tight and you've been sitting there probably sipping on your hot chocolate, having a great time, hopefully not bored out of your brain just yet. One other thing I want to show you, for a lot of high-end car stuff, you'll often see there's sort of could be a blue or green tint over the car. I'm not going to do this for this image, but I'll just quickly show you how you can do it. Command Option Shift E. Actually, no, don't need to do that yet. What I'm going to do is create another hue and saturation adjustment layer, click on Colorize, and I'm going to drag this up here until we get our kind of, there we go. That's the look I'm after. Now, we could reduce the opacity down on it to sort of pull it back and give it a almost vintage-like look to it. The other thing that we can do is with our mask here, if we wanted to bring back, say, all of the light, like let's say we wanted the light to be completely red like normal, well, that's no problem. Just click on your mask, make sure black is your foreground color, and then just paint. Give yourself a bit more opacity than that, and just sort of paint over that like so. And obviously be a bit more, picky about your mask, but that's how you can do it, and it looks pretty cool, I reckon. I don't want to do it for this one though. I'm going to delete that hue and saturation adjustment layer, and let's have a look here. We're getting right to the end now, the very end. What do we need to do finally is just a final sharpen, and I'm going to press Command Option Shift, and that's Command Alt Shift on the PC. Oh, sorry, Control Alt Shift, and then press E. And that gives us a combined layer now. So right on top, we've got this new layer now that has everything on it. And now I'm just going to do a sharpen. So come up to Filter. Where are you? Sharpen. Yep. Unsharp Mask or Smart Sharpen. Up to you. If you want to do, the Smart Sharpen here, go for it. I often use Unsharp Mask. Just used to it. Let's pump this amount right up. Okay, so like so, and increase our radius there. And I'll just pull that off the screen and then click on the preview option there. So that's our before and that's our after. Look at the detail that's coming out in the wheel there and around some of the edges. So that's our before and after. Just gives it that little extra kind of pop to the image and makes it look pretty cool. You can use Unsharp Masks pretty much the same way if you wanted to as well. So that's it. That's our Mercedes Benz. I'll just let this Smart Sharpen process. It's starting to become a pretty big image now. All right, so there's our image. Let's have a look at our before and after. That's our before image, straight off the forum from the poor person who didn't know how to edit it or what to do with it, and that's our after image, which looks sexy. So I hope you enjoy it. Have a fantastic day. I hope you picked up lots out of this video, and you can see how you can do these professional looking edits very well. Not super quickly, I mean, it's just impossible, but you can do it pretty quick and you'll get faster and faster. And obviously I was sort of trying to explain what I'm doing as I go, but have a fantastic day. Talk to you soon. Cheers.